So you've talked a little bit about the relationships. How do you take those relationships and translate them into one, action, and two, into an online community?
Well,
or do you?
Well, I think you probably do, but I think I think you can. First, to the relationships, or I believe that when people get together on something like this, or the tea parties, or any of these things where people gather and they say, I'm motivated, interested. You come to a dinner on a Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, downtown St. Louis, Cardinals game, lots going on. You got to kind of want to be here. So you care enough to come. Well, what's the next step? What do you care about? Somebody's here. My friend Mark Andrews is here. He cares deeply about what the casinos are doing to our communities. He worries about it. That's what he motivates towards. I think the best thing to galvanize people on across the board issues is when you see candidates who run for office like Shane Osborne, where that group there was going, wow, Treasurer of Nebraska is a really sharp guy, articulate, smart, cares about issues, conservative. I could help him. And who's the Shane Osborne in our community? Who's the Governor Matt Blunt in our community? How do you figure out those? I believe that candidates all the way up the way, local and then on to national, make the difference. And our job is to find people like that and help them get there. I mean, Shane Osborne needs us to be encouraging him and donating to him and volunteering him. So that's one thing. I think that's the best thing. Now, sometimes you'll find a cause. Hey, I'm concerned about veterans. I'm going to do whatever, one of the groups that motivate. Online, I think it's a little trickier in the sense that there'll be a speaker tomorrow. I'm not convinced that when people say that they want to do online stuff, they know what they mean. They got emails, they got phones, they may have Facebook. It's different than really understanding how to drive a message and pay attention and things. And I think we're still learning how to do that. I think sometimes it's galvanized around an issue. Okay, go to X website on some topic. But I think I'm hoping that we're going to learn how to create more entrepreneurs like you just described yourself that are starting sites that people say, hey, how do I do that? How do I get involved?
So do you see what you're doing as kind of a counter to what was going on the left, bringing President Obama into office?
Well,
or do you see it kind of, how do you reflect on the left side?
I'm not an expert on what Obama did, but I'm not as impressed with what Obama did as others are, because the people that I do trust have explained to me and shown me that mostly what they did was they used email lists and they allowed people to get motivated and get involved. And I think that's the difference to me, is people motivated as opposed to some command control thing. It doesn't work. And what I think these meetings are is, again, it's a validation for people that conservatives are smart and good and we can be together and what can we do, and generate the energy and find, going away from this, a few people that kind of work together and kind of connect together and find some things to work on.
A couple things about the leadership conference itself. You'd mentioned this is going to be an annual meeting.
Yep.
And I think this is your first meeting.
It is. This is the first one. No, this is the first one.
This is the inaugural meeting.
Yep.
And do you plan on holding it in St. Louis next year, or is that
next
still
year? Next year we'll
grabs?
be up. Next year we'll be in St. Louis. We'll be in downtown St. Louis again. I'm open to, and my fellow sort of board members, people that have got involved, are open to the idea of other places. I think that our goal in terms of regionalism is to make it easy for the people of the sort of heartland. We include Texas and Alabama and Louisiana in that sort of Midwest and South Central states to come together. St. Louis works pretty well, and I think next year it'll be good because that's where I live and the other organizers. But we'd look at other places, Memphis or probably centrally located, to let lots of people come.
As far as the penetration goes for the conservative heartland, would you say that this is sort of the nexus right now in St. Louis, or do you have other strong points?
Well, I mean, here's where we have people that came together. I mean, I think in this first year we are heavy on Missouri and Illinois. Okay. But we have Missouri, Illinois, Arkansas, Iowa, Minnesota.
There's a guy from Wisconsin.
Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma. I don't know if I said Arkansas, Tennessee. We've got Washington, D.C., Virginia, California. So I think we're seeing, the speakers come from all over. But my goal and my vision for this is that next year and the years after we get larger contingents from all the Midwestern states. And part of that is, again, recognizing that right now in North Dakota, South Dakota, there are people, Nebraska, Oklahoma, doing good conservative things and putting them into practice. We need to find them, lift them up, honor them, and then learn from them and do it ourselves and find ways to do it. I mean, transparency is a good example. Transparency is spreading because of the power of the idea and how well it's been implemented. If it was a great idea and nobody did it well, everyone would say, that's not worth the trouble.
Exactly.
Missouri did it, Texas did it, Nebraska did it, and it's going to change the country.
Speaking of transparency specifically, do you see it really coming through at the federal level? The president had promised to review, put bills online, was it 5 days?
Well, it was the Congress. The president promised that, and the Congress promised 48 hours, and they've all gone back on that. I think I'm not as concerned about that kind of hypocrisy because I think.
You think that that's maybe token transparency?
Yeah, I mean, I think that even if they did it, it's sort of token and it's silly. What we really need is the stimulus spending and the spending for our departments.
So you're
and
talking
real
like line
transparency.
item transparency.
Yeah. I mean, all in a searchable database where you can say, well, how much did it cost to do paper for a department, and you find out who has the contract for paper, and that kind of, again, half of the value, more than half, is that someone could check. And that helps, as Governor Blunt said, that helps the bureaucrats do better as they go forward. So I think that's sort of this idea of the bills online. I think it is. I think it's atrocious that they promised to put the bills up for 48 hours and the stimulus bill was up for 15 hours, the biggest spending in the history. You know, it's embarrassing for America, and it's an insult to us. But I'm more concerned about when are you going to post. You know, you want to see how it really works. Is get the education department's budget online and start to see how they spend the money. Get some of these departments on travel and all. If you put up the number, it'll be amazing how high it is for things like travel and subscriptions and all. And again, a lot of it's justified. Much of it's justified. Although you might think differently if someone told you all the travel spending for X department is, $60 million or something. Who knows what it would be? And you say, wait, is that really what we need to do? So I think that's more important.
It drives the question.
The other thing is that healthcare, all this talk about healthcare, one of the key things cost controllers in healthcare is transparency. Everybody admits that. Hidden costs and hidden fees and hidden things. That's one place where we could really do it. And I'm not confident that they'll get that done, but it's another place.
What's coming up next for Conservative Heartland?
Well, tomorrow. You mean tomorrow?
Well, I mean further down the road. I mean,
Well, down the road.
Well,
Tomorrow. The rest of the conference is tomorrow. Obviously, all day. We got Senator Jim Talon, Senator Norm Coleman, Phyllis Schlafly, Alan Cobb from AFP will be here on a panel, and lots of different speakers. Down the road, we'll regroup out of this conference. Our major event is the conference every year, and promoting that and kind of building up to that. What we're discovering already is that we have lots of partners who are doing lots of grassroots and different things that want to help us and be a part of it. And that's one of the things we want. My goal is that in the next couple of years, when you see this event, you're going to see a little bit more like CPAC. You're going to see a hall full of bloggers and press. You're going to see a hall full of people selling books and all. I mean, we want to try to make it a place where you come and you say, okay, today we had 150, 160 different people, lots of groups, but we want to really expand that so it's a resource for people. So that's what's coming down the line.
Okay.
All right.
And what about the tea parties? Are you going to be there on the
July
4th?
4th we've got one. Yep. I think it's
I have to warn you that Bill is flirting with the possibility of a July 3rd evening event.
Yeah, I think that's better. He hasn't told me that, but I think my concern with the 4th is everybody I know has family stuff that they'll have to try to fit it in. And if we do that, we just need to manage our expectations. So, more realistically, we have 500 people, not 8,000. But yeah, maybe the 3rd, or later in July, there'll be a date where we have finished paying off our taxes for the year, state and federal taxes. Which is like July 20th this year. That's the day that your tax freedom, you're free. Everything you've earned for the year till that day goes to the state and federal government. And so maybe something like that. But cool.
Cool.
Darren, we'll see you tomorrow.